Well, with strip till you disturb the natural vegetation that's in the wintertime less than anything you can do, unless you do complete no-till. But strip till here works better because we have subsoil compaction that we don't have in other parts of the country. So coastal plains soils are known for the subsoil compaction problem, so therefore we went to a strip till versus a true no-till situation. So anytime you use conventional tillage, you disturb the natural vegetation that's on the land, particularly in the wintertime. It stops the wind erosion and water erosion. We've had torrential rains all this winter, and we would have serious erosion problems if we did not have natural vegetation on the land. And without disturbing the soil, the natural vegetation can thrive through the wintertime, and then we, of course, kill it in the summer when we get ready to, or in the spring when we get ready to plant and do the strip till operation. Well, the residue that's left on top of the ground stops evaporation, or decreases the evaporation rate. When it gets hot and the sun's shining on the land and the plants are small, until the plants can actually shade the land, it helps with evaporation, and you lose less surface water. Well, you never can tell when it's going to rain again. You never can tell when it's going to stop. So in the spring, when you have particularly hot spells and the surface water is removed through evaporation, the root systems are not deep enough at that point in time, so they're dependent on the surface water. And the vegetation, dead vegetation, and crop residue left from the strip till rig helps with that pretty good bit. Some of the land that we rent is more sloped than the land that we own. And we addressed these problems early on with our own land that has slopes on it, that we had, I saw almost a natural gully that would keep coming back. We make sure we always have vegetation in the wintertime on the sloped land. And really in the summer too, you need some surface vegetation or a residue to stop that erosion and developing the gullies and all that it does. And once you get it leveled and keep the vegetation on, then you almost forget about what problems you had in the past. And then some of the land that we've rented, they've not addressed the cover crops nor natural vegetation in the wintertime. They've always plowed it up, and I call it recreational plowing. And they've got some serious erosion problems that we're trying to get the land sloped back like it's supposed to be, and then we'll start with the cover crops and hopefully natural vegetation will come back in the wintertime. But that land has had herbicide poured on it every year for so many years that the natural winter vegetation doesn't do well there yet. Well, the first thing that hits me is a cosmetic effect. It looks terrible. It looks untended, uncared for. And then the actual cost, you lose crops where you have gullies washed out. You're not able to harvest the crops you have very well with gullies in the field. And then you actually lose, plant population is decreased where the gullies wash through. And those areas never do well. We need, we're looking at 43,000 plants per acre. We don't need 20. We want 43. And that's what we're planting for, that's what we're fertilizing for, and that's what we expect to have. And those areas can be quite productive if you can control erosion. When we strip till, we only plant. We do one operation at a time. That's the most critical operation that we do is planting. So we don't try to cloud the issue with a lot of other things going on. We deal with fertility in a separate operation completely from the planting operation. In fact, a lot of people try to spray herbicide and all that. We just plant. And we figure if we can get the optimum planting conditions and timing and everything, we don't need to slow ourselves down with all this other stuff that we can actually do on it. The time is not so critical. We deal with fertilizer and fertility on a variable rate. Some people call it precision ag. We do grid samples. We've been doing that for a number of years. And all our fertilizers put out in variable rates. So the bandit goes away from the variable rate concept. I don't know how you would variable rate band it, but we variable rate with a spreader. We have used animal waste on occasion. Frankly, it's getting too expensive. It's almost more expensive than fertilizer when you look at variable rate fertilizer. And I think that animal waste has its place. You need a place to put it, but you don't really know exactly what's in the waste when you put it out, and so you're going to have to extensively soil test to know where you are. Whereas commercial fertilizer, you pretty much know what's in every pound of it, and you can handle it easier and a lot more precise with your applications. We broadcast. We use a variable rate spreader. We have a formula prescription, as we call it, in the spreader, and it puts out different amounts of fertilizer all across the fields according to what the soil samples say we need. Well, we rotate crops, and with rotating the crops, some crops you can't strip till or we don't strip till. Wheat would be one. When we do wheat, we do a little more tillage, and that brings the phosphorus down a little deeper than just on the surface. So although we disturb the soil, we immediately come back with a cover crop of wheat, which minimizes the erosion problems, and it minimizes the time that there's no vegetation on the land. So using wheat in our rotation system, it does give a chance to plow some of the fertilizer in deeper or mix the soil deeper than you would do with a strip till. And also with peanuts, it's the same thing. Some people actually bottom plow peanut land, but we don't do that. But we do tillage, disking and deep disking and stuff with peanuts, which gives it a chance to mix the soil back in. And I think rotating the peanuts and rotating the wheat gives a good blend over a period of time.